Vyas Media Network.
Today, you are who you are. So walking us through that journey, I think that would be very beneficial for me to have some color into your life.
Well, I was born 1981, and I was born in Kathmandu in Shantabhawan Hospital, which is now Patan Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And my earliest memories are very vague, but I've always lived in Chundevi Marsganj.
Yeah.
And one of the leading schools then was called Kantipur English School.
Mm.
And it was in Takrapatha Ring Road, what we call it today. It was run by an Anglo-Indian lady called Mrs. Ranger, I remember. Though I was too young then, I went to another school she opened later on. But I have vague memories of driving there with my sister every morning. It was a very short drive.
Mm.
And sometimes my cousin Parul would be with us.
Yeah.
And I remember being very outdoorsy, like as in catching dragonflies, having them under my desk. I don't know. I think making them fight with other dragonflies and other boys. So that's like where my memory is. And I don't remember very much after that. Then when I was 4, my father was in the Central Bank of Nepal. Mm. So he got a chance from the central bank to go work in the IMF in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So it was a very big, I think, life-changing experience where suddenly we went to America at the age of 4, knowing zero English. And then I remember going to ESL classes and just watching a lot of Saturday morning cartoons. Mm-hmm. But very quickly picking up the language and adjusting well into the environment there. And then we lived there for about 2.5 years, and then we moved back to Nepal. I think that was around the end of 1988.
Yeah, so you were still like 6.5 at the time. Very young.
Yeah, I was very young. And then so I think it was, this, very young going to, from Nepal to America, coming back. And coming back was, I think, a shocker because now you're old enough, you're cognitive enough to kind of understand what's going around you, the world around you. Mm-hmm. And you're old enough to understand that, there's a difference in, standard of living to almost everything, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's a big shocker. Mm-hmm. You can't have McDonald's, XYZ things is just taken away. So, I think it's a trauma, but then when you're so young, I don't know how people can process it, right?
Right.
Maybe it's the only age at which you can go through that kind of a fundamental shift and not really, care much about it. Because at any other age, it would have been, way more impactful. Right. Or, it felt deprived of certain things you're already, used to. And came back. We went to the same school, the same headmistress that we had in Kantipur English School. She had opened another school called Springdale School, which again was a walk down from my house.
Yeah.
So... maybe I repeated a grade there. I'm not too sure. But so I did class 1, 2, 3 there again. And then prepared for the selection exams for where I went to school, where my father used to give me tuition, which was a nightmare. But obviously very...
Tuition in what? Everything?
Math, basically, yeah. Because it was just math and English. My English was very good. So, he used to basically... it's arithmetic, all these little things. So, did that and then did the entrance exam. And suddenly the next thing I know, I was accepted in and I was in boarding school.
Yeah.
Which I had no comprehension of what a boarding school really was.
And this is grade 4-ish, right? Grade 4.
This is grade 4.
Yeah.
So, suddenly I found myself in a, brand new environment. The kids from all over Nepal, So, again, very striking change from, the shelter, kind of...
Very sheltered life, yeah.
Sheltered and, just the comforts of home and family. And then I spent the next 10 years there, going on to school, which I enjoyed immensely. But it had its ups and downs, its challenges,
As does any boarding school.
I think so, but I think also Nepal at that time was very, very different. I can't even use the word different to describe it. It was almost like the Wild West, I don't know. If you were like a teenager, probably in the 80s or 90s in Nepal, I mean, there's nothing to do. Today, kids are lucky. I mean, even teenagers, adults are lucky because there's so much entertainment, so much, many different mediums you could indulge into and while away the time. I mean, back then there was nothing. And I remember when the first, pool and snooker halls came in, and that was a big deal because it was just somewhere, some avenue, something to do, right?
Right.
And, so, yeah, that's how basic, like, what do you do? Let's go out and have some momos, with friends. That's the height of your social activity. And that's, that's also, look at spending power, Like 20 rupees was probably, a lot of, what you had, and that was a lot of money, and it was enough to buy you 2 plates of momos. So,
Right.
I mean, life was simpler then. Times were much simpler then.
Right.
But then, there was nothing, there was no base to compare it to. So,
Yeah. But I imagine the diversity that the school, showed to you or you had access to, was that helpful?
I don't know. Because when I went, there was no diversity in terms of gender. So it was a male boarding school.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And then, so they had started the process of breaking down that wall. And then we had girls or ladies at that time, because we were so young, in O-level A1 and A2. And it was so nice, like so...
You just didn't know how to react.
The ladies' room was in the junior boys' dorm.
Oh.
So there was a, library room, which was then refitted. They put a toilet in there, So that's how it even started, right? It was an experiment to see if girls could even, survive there or, do well there. And then when I was in class 6, I think it went full co-ed.
Yeah.
Well, full co-ed, I mean, like they had 5 girls in each class. And so, total,
Sounds like my
one class was
days.
15 girls versus 75 boys.
Yeah.
But, so it wasn't easy for the girls. And my sister came in a year above me from St. Mary's. She also wanted to be in boarding school. So, well, it was interesting times. Yeah, I mean, today I look at society and I see it's so much more cohesive. And that time it just wasn't. So,
Vyas Media Network.